What's on your mind?
Climate change, pandemic, fracking, factories, failing healthcare, war in the cemetery.
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?
Well, what do I think? I think I might be getting a little old for all this running around and craziness that I keep putting myself through. But I had a great time. I did. I had a great time last night. Went to Anderson last night and to the Salute to Liberty. Met with many people from Greenwood were up there to support the Salute to Liberty. Rather surprising how many people were there. There were people from all different parts of our community. Dr. Cosentino, Adam Taylor, let's see, different businesses. NHC's chief financial officer was there. Howard Corley, Glenda Corley, Gene Griffin. I tell you what, the list just went. Gene Kroll was there. Oh, I just could go on and on if I could think of their names, but no. There was a whole group of Greenwoodians that were up there last night. David Stumbo, Solicitor David Stumbo, was actually one of the presenters there for the Sheriff's Department, for the sheriffs talking about Salute to Liberty. So that was great. Representative John McCravey gave the prayer there, and it was just, Greenwood was so well represented, and as Sherry likes to say, she represents 11 counties. I asked her in an interview that we do have. It was a Facebook Live that is posted on my Facebook page, WCRS 98.5 FM, 1450 AM. If it was hard to get around to all the different districts. She goes, we did 11 counties last weekend. I was like, my goodness. She liked to say when she was running for office, that no one would outwork her. And I remind her of that every time I see her. How's it going? And we chat and everything. And I said, well, you said no one would outwork you. And she does. Last night in the when she was giving her speech, she goes, and as Ann Eller says, no one will outwork me. It was pretty fun to be there with a group of 1,200 people and have Ann Eller. Yes, the voice of Greenwood says no one will outwork her, and it is the truth. This woman is a woman after my own heart on how hard she works, how committed she is to every part of our district, and because of that, we will see results that I think you have not seen in our district. We all were impressed when Jeff Duncan went to work for us, and I think that Sherry, with the trajectory that she is on, she will bring home more things to the district. She is more. She works so hard to understand everything and then take those messages back to Washington, D.C. And it's not easy. It's not easy working in Washington, D.C. with all the factions that are there. Anyways, just to throw a little kudos out there to Sherry and her team. They did a great job. Bringing it all together. I was going to try to have some clips for you for today, but I gave that up. Contrary to popular belief, I do need a little sleep. Anyways, and then when I got home last night, Penny's like, play with me. I need play. You've been gone since 3 this afternoon. You got home about 9:30. You need to play with me. So, I had to play with Penny. Anyways, but it was a great night, and I am certainly glad that I went. Want to thank Christy Wright for being there and taking some of the videos and making sure that things got recorded for posterity. Of course, I did a lovely video. I'm going to go ahead and laugh at myself. I did a lovely live video, and if any of you tried to go and watch it, it was 4 or 5 minutes. And I came home last night and I said, well, let me see what I got here. And as I'm sitting there trying to watch it, I kept trying to turn the volume up on the thing and it wouldn't talk. And I'm sitting there going, what the heck is going on with this video? Somehow, I wouldn't want Christy to have any, this is totally my doing. I was walking around the room, Facebook Live, and it's like a silent movie. There you go. You get to see it, but you can't hear what I'm saying. Isn't that pretty darn cool? Kind of goes back to before the talkies started. Anyways, that's a little bit about last night, but we did accomplish a lot last night, and it was great to see Sherry Biggs. It was great to meet Sarah Sanders, Huckabee Sanders. That's a difficult name to say. I don't know why for me. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She gave an excellent speech, and I do have it. I'd love to play some clips for you. Just can't do it this morning. She talked about how no matter how good you think you're doing out there in the world, when you have children, they have a way of humbling you about your abilities. And she told this great story about her oldest daughter, who I think was, 7 or 8 or 9 maybe, and she was going to her first daddy-daughter dance. And her daughter had this image of how perfect everything could be if she would help her. So they spent the day together getting her nails and getting her hair and the perfect dress, the perfect. And I know I'm not going to get this exactly right, but so she was at the top of the stairs, and her dad, and even down to the flower that she wanted her dad to give her when she came down the stairs. And she said, I'm up there at the top of the stairs, and I'm, just doing finishing touches and everything, and getting ready to send her down the stairs. And I wanted to tell her how blessed I felt I was that God sent her to us to be her mom, and that I could be her mom, and yada yada. And she was going on, and said I started to tear up because it was so overwhelming moment. She looked so beautiful and everything was so perfect. And her daughter looked at her and said, someday, Mom, maybe you can look as good as I do, or something to that effect. I mean, and here she was thinking that, everything was so perfect, and her daughter just said, yeah. No, she didn't say yeah, but the daughter just looked at her and said, yes, Mom, maybe someday you can have an event like this, and you can look so beautiful, too. She goes, what am I, chopped liver? Isn't that the way? But anyways, she did an excellent speech. Sherry and Sarah became friends when Sherry's son went to rodeo school in Arkansas, and that's how they met. And since that day, they went to an event at her house. This is before she became the governor. And so she said it was, that she talked about that. Sherry actually did in her interview with me, because I said, you've never told us how, and then she did, and then Sarah talked about the specialness of their relationship. So it was a excellent event. I am so glad that I got to go, and I got to see what was how well it all turned out. 1,200 people were at this event last night. 1,200 people were at this event. So it was really, really great. Somebody just sent me, one of my listener producers here just sent me this. It says, did you wake up last night? The USGS confirms a 2.2 magnitude earthquake around 2.4 miles northwest of Cornacre, South Carolina. It happened around 11:30 last night. And it covers Greenwood, Hodges, Cross Hill. Greenwood is down at the bottom part of it. So did anybody feel an earthquake last night? Did you feel the earth move under you? Did you think there was something special going on as you were sleeping last night? Well, it really was an earthquake. So how about that? A 2.2. Right there in Cornacre was actually the center of it. So how about that? So thank you. That's what I love about this show is everybody keeps me updated as to what's going on out there in the world. There are a lot of things going on out there in the world. Unfortunately, I don't feel capable of talking about them this morning because I haven't read up on all these things. So I will just say this. Great event last night. 1,200 people were there. First responders, regular folks, veterans. It was great. And I think people really appreciated the event, and it took a lot of work to pull that off. Sherry did say when they first started planning, her staff was saying, well, if we have 200, that would be great. And then they changed it to 400, 600, and then they ended up with 1,200 people there. So kudos to the hard work that went into making this a success. And I want to thank Sherry Biggs and her staff for taking care of me and making sure I had taken some things to Sherry and to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and they were very gracious about making sure that they got there. All right, so watch the video on Facebook. It will be posted, I don't know, it might be today, might be tomorrow before it actually gets posted on the website. All right, so there was a city council meeting, and I understand that Fox News was there. So that story, we will get to that one tomorrow. I want to make some comments on that, but right now I want to move on and talk about some of the other things that are going on. What did you think? I'm going to switch now. We're switching to national news. What did you think of Zelensky and all the NATO members that came to Washington? And literally, they had to drop everything to come to Washington, D.C. Now, I don't know if it was the food that made them want to come or if it truly was peace, but they said they were there on peace, and that's being a little facetious on the food. But I think it really is a statement. It is a statement to America that when invitation is given, that they just show up. This invitation started out as an invitation simply to Zelensky, really, I think, to have a conversation, to debrief, and to get Trump's read of the room with Putin. However, the very fact that these other leaders from NATO came really speaks volumes. And I don't care whether you like Trump or not. You should certainly appreciate the fact that he has garnered the respect of the world. He has garnered the respect of the world. And with respect, you have the capabilities of doing something. If you are considered a nation non gratis, as we were with Biden, none of this would be happening. Simply saying the words don't doesn't not make it happen. And Trump has taken a very active role. He's taken time away from doing things that he could be doing on other avenues for our country, and he believes that peace is so important to stop the killing that he's willing to take that time to do that. So I think when you look at President Trump, regardless, as I said, whether you like him or not, you have to give him kudos for being tenacious. Many other people would have said, Putin's not going to do anything. Let's just put the screws on and put sanctions and just let him hang in the wind. But Trump has actually tried to make this happen. Now, as he says, Putin and Zelensky now need to get in a room and have a conversation. And if they can get through that conversation, then they can go to a trilateral, which would include President Trump, Zelensky, and Putin. That remains to be seen. But the very fact that people are talking, that people are moving the needle on making this a possibility is huge, and should not be underestimated by any, whether on the left, that they just need to get over it and say, maybe there is something to this man and his capabilities to do the art of the deal. Maybe a businessman can bring some of these things, these talents that you have as a businessman, to politics. And maybe some of these people who have never signed a paycheck, maybe some of these people that have never had to work their way out of a paper bag to try to succeed in business, ought to give kudos to some of these business people that work very hard. Quite often, I think a lot of people, most of you that may be listening right now have probably either run a business, been on the inside track of owning a business. It's not as easy as people think. If you have employees, you make sure your employees get paid before everybody else. If things are short and you can't figure out what to do, maybe you sell something that you had that you didn't really want to sell to be able to keep that business, because they have ultimate belief in what they're doing will make a success. We can all talk about being well financed and this, that, and the other. But you know what? When you are starting a business, you are working very, very hard. Unless you've taken over a business that's already running, you're patterning it exactly like another business. I mean, there are situations where I can see, well, you could be an instant success. Buying a franchise, normally, because they give you so much help, makes it a good thing. But if you are really doing it with just the seat of your pants and a little bit of money maybe you saved up, and then you take a whole lot of grit and put it out there, you learn a lot very, very quickly. I can say this because I've done this. I did it with Jeff. I did it by myself. And I know what it takes to do this. And I've watched many businesses. So, President Trump knows what it's like from the bottom up. And yes, he is very, very wealthy, and yes, he has a lot of power. But at one point, he did not. And he had to learn, just like anybody else, how to run a business. But he has learned that lesson well. And because of that, he is becoming a very successful at negotiating. And it doesn't matter whether you're negotiating in America or you're negotiating on the international stage. The principles are still the same. So I just wanted to say that. I think that it is the most tremendous thing that I have seen, and everybody else is touting it. We have had leaders that had military background. We've had leaders that were politicians, probably from age 15 up. But I don't know that we've ever had a businessman that has been so successful and able to see so clearly. And I also believe that having your life almost over while you were standing on the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, would have had a tremendous effect on where one puts one priorities. That and his age. When you get to be a certain age, you start to realize that life isn't going to go on forever. And you better start trying to make some decisions and do some things that, if you want to have an impact on this world, that you can make a difference on. So, that's my little bit about what's happening. I guess we'll have to wait and see when they will meet. I think it's going to be fairly soon. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. On the weather here today, let's go ahead and check the weather. I don't know what is the deal with the weather. Last night we were coming home, everything's fine. All of a sudden it's raining so hard we can't even see in front of our face driving home. We got into Greenwood. Friday night I went up there to Honeypath, came back, raining hard when I got back to Greenwood. And then the lightning. Did anybody see the lightning last night and the crackling and everything? Even Penny, she's out there last night. Come on, Mom, let's go. I gotta go. She's out there. She looks around. She goes, what the heck was that? Yeah, we've had some wild weather. Wild weather. All right, let's check the weather and see what we've got for the weather today. We are at 76. Feels like 76. It is cloudy out there. We are looking for considerable cloudiness. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High of 86. And we only have about a 15% chance of rain. Tonight we are looking at, again, a stray shower or thunderstorm. Partly cloudy skies, low around 70. When we get there on Wednesday, we're going to have a high of 89, low of 71. Partial, few passing clouds, but mainly sunny skies. High of 89, low of 71. No real chance of any rain. Thursday comes in with a high of 88, low of 70, and 24% chance of a little rain. Friday, of course, is going to be football day. We really need to follow up on this forecast and see what we've got. High of 78, low of 69, and what do they say about Friday? Scattered showers and thunderstorms, high of 78, chance of rain 50% during the day. Now let's look at Friday night, because that's going to be football night. Variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms, low of 69, chance of rain 40%. Saturday, just mostly cloudy. Let's see. Cloudy skies during the morning, followed by scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. High near 80, chance of rain 40%. So Saturday night, mostly cloudy skies and a low of 67. And then the rest of it goes on. All right, so that's the weather forecast here at the WCRS studios. We are a worldwide roving organization. Have event, we'll travel and cover it. Yes, it's true. I was talking to somebody last night, and they go, and people don't know any idea what all you are doing when you are doing this. I said, yeah, it's true. It is pretty amazing. We just added another camera here today because this afternoon we are going to have Dr. Baker with the Clemson Extension Office. She's actually over the whole food safety division of the Clemson Extension services, and she is going to be here along with Stacy Kirby, who also works in the food safety division, and they're going to be demonstrating, actually she's going to be demonstrating proper knife technique. Now you may say to yourself, Ann, have you lost your mind? Well, maybe. But we are going to be doing this, I think it's going to be pretty cool, and we have an extra camera here, so you'll actually be able to see what they are showing us, meaning what the techniques that she's doing. So don't you think that's pretty cool? I think that's pretty darn cool. So make sure you tune in this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We're also going to be talking about some upcoming events. and why it is important to have the proper knife for the proper thing. I don't know whether we'll be using Gingzo knives. Do you remember that when they used to sell the knife that'll never get destroyed, and they'd stand there and bang it on the counter and everything? I have one of those. Do you know I still have it? And I was unpacking stuff the other day, and I'd wondered what had happened to this knife because it's great for cutting certain things. Well, I pull out this knife block, and it's got all these knives in it, and I said, there's that knife! And I found the knife that was like my Gingzo knives or something. I was talking to somebody the other day who told me, yeah, remember when TV infomercials were the rage? Now they hit you on Facebook over and over. If you happen to look at one thing on Facebook, one ad, one idea of something, oh my God, you're going to get inundated with other places going, oh, show her this, she might buy this. Show her this, she might buy this. Well, remember on TV how you used to see all these things, the TV infomercials, and they would just keep hitting you over the head. Well, the person I was talking to happened to tell me about how they kept getting hit over the head and hit over the head. And maybe they'd imbibed a little too much. Maybe they hadn't, but maybe they had. So they decided they were buying those knives. And they have a complete set of knives. So I'm hoping that if that person is listening this afternoon, that they will get to see how to use that whole cadre of knives that they got, that they have no idea how to use all of them, that they will learn how to use them. But the bottom line is, I think this is going to be a fascinating talk with Dr. Baker from Clemson Extension. She really has a fascinating history. I think you'll find her most an effective speaker here this afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner, along with Stacy Kirby. And so tune in. You may remember the last time we had Stacy with us, we made jelly. And it was quite delicious. I've got to say, quite delicious. You may remember the cameras went out, and I used my video camera to capture the moment, and then we posted it on Facebook. I think that thing got, I don't know what it's up to now, but it was 700 or 800, 900 views within a week of that. That was pretty amazing, considering I was mortified because it seemed like it was such a fiasco. So, but it wasn't. It turned out really good. So this afternoon we have an extra camera posted on the desk to be able to show you that. So I hope you will tune in. That's today. Tomorrow, Charles Angel with the robotics over in Due West will be with us. And on Thursday, Chef Jay Hancock will be with us from the G. Frank Russell Center, where he teaches some classes there. He also does some of the classes at Piedmont Tech. So I know it's going to be a really good, entertaining, but also informative talks this afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner. So that's pretty much what I got to say here today. I am sorry I'm a little draggy here today. But I will survive, just like Gloria Gaynor. I got to get that song and put it in rotation. I think that would be a good one to have up there. I will survive. We all will survive. We will survive. How we survive is more the question. What roads, what turns and twists will your life take to get you to where you think you want to go? One of the things you got to have in life, you do have to have some bit of a plan. Things keep getting dropped in my lap, and I keep having to decide, should I go down this road or should I stay the course? And that's what I think makes life so exciting. But it also shows that I have ultimate control over my destiny and what I do to decide which direction to go. Now, you are listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. That was our top of the hour. It is now 10 o'clock in Greenwood. I have the ultimate choice. What choice I make is based on the fact of a whole lot of factors. What my beliefs are, how I view I should do life, what factors are going to make a difference in what I do in life, and how am I being true to myself. Because in this job, as a radio person, a lot of people try to twist and turn what direction you go. And one thing I've learned, you must be true to yourself and make sure what you are doing out there really reflects what you are about. Every day, I try to make sure I do that. Some days, maybe I fail. Most days, I think I'm true to myself. And for that, I will never regret the decisions that I have made. All I can do is keep moving forward and bringing you the news and the stories and the tales from the crypt that you always crave and want to know. Because there are a lot of tales from the crypt. All right, anyways, that was dramatic, wasn't it? Yeah, it sure was. I appreciate each and every one of you coming and talking to me and telling me how you tune in and how you... I had somebody send me a message the other day about how much they enjoy the show, and they say, I don't know where you get your energy, and you just keep rolling. And you know what inspires me is the fact, well, a couple of things. My faith, my realization about life, and to quote my dear husband, there are only 24 hours in a day. Actually, he said there are 24 hours a day, and I said there are only 24 hours in a day. So I want to make sure that I live it to the fullest, and that is what I'm trying to do every day. All right, let's look at a couple things here. Let's see. I did have a story up here. What was the story that I had up here? Oh, no, that's not a good story. All right, let's go over here and just see what we have coming up this afternoon. Well, I know what we have coming up on WCRS. What do we have for events coming up? There is a lot of good stuff that's going to be happening. Let me tell you, lots of good stuff that's going to be happening. Oh, look, there I am on Facebook. Oh, my goodness. All right, with pictures. There you go. So, let's see. I'm now acting as Ann Eller. Don't you love that? Well, who were you acting like before, Ann? Well, now you're acting like Ann Eller. I love it. All right, let's scroll through and see what we see here this morning. Yep, there we go. Oh, there is Pamela Evett. What a great night. Joined conservatives from across the state at keynote Scott Jennings for Congressman Russell Fry's second annual Freedom Fry. All right, so we've got politics going on everywhere. So that seems to be what is always going on. Lots of politics everywhere. And oh my goodness, more people going to Maine. You know, it amazes me. I'm from Maine, and every time it pops up that somebody is from Maine, I just love seeing who's gone there. And the next time I see them, I always try to talk to them, and they always are just like, Ann, you just don't know what a beautiful state. Yeah, it was a beautiful state. It was a beautiful state. However, one person did say, but oh my God, how liberal. Well, you know, when I tell you that the moose, even the moose are high in Maine, you'll know what I'm talking about when you go there, All right, so, do I have anything in particular I want to make sure you know about before I give this up? I guess I do not. I do. There is a lot going on. I want to... Before I go off, I want us to remember back in 1988 at Oakland Elementary School, that is now Rice Elementary School, is going to remember on September 27th the horrible shooting that was here. The horrible shooting. And we lost two lives, two children. But I think the thing that is important to remember is all the people, all the kids, all the people that were children then, and they grew up and they've had to live with this their whole life. Well, they are going to be having a community volunteer work day is planned for Saturday, September 27th at 8 a.m. at the Eleanor S. Rice Elementary School, formerly Oakland Elementary School, to enhance the 1988 Oakland Elementary School Memorial Garden. None of these things get any easier. None of these things get any easier. But it is amazing that our community goes through, and we have suffered a lot of different losses, and still we go on, and that goes to the resiliency of our community. But it still is something that I think we should remember, and we should cherish the fact that people are still suffering from some of this, even though they go on every day. And it certainly was a wake-up call across our country. Everybody remembers Columbine, but it was here in Greenwood that the first school shooting actually happened. So I just wanted to mention that one. There are other things that I should probably mention. I know there is, but I'm not going to. I'm going to just give it up for today and say that I hope you will join us this afternoon on WCRS with Dr. Baker and Stacy Kirby, both with the Clemson Extension Office, so that we can talk about knives this afternoon and learn all there is. They actually are having some classes in knives too. So I thought I would just mention that. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Penny says, get off the air. I need to go out. All right, Penny, that's what we're going to do. This was a show about nothing. Yada, yada, and yada, yada. Did I succeed? I guess. I was very excited to have gone last night to the Salute to Liberty, and very proud of my friend Sherry Biggs pulling off such a huge, successful event. That is going to do it for us. Have a great day. Take it away. Cue the music, and we will survive. No matter what, we will survive. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.